Well, hello and welcome to the eCommerce podcast with me, your host, Matt Edmundson. Now, this podcast, this amazing e-commerce podcast, is all about helping you deliver e-commerce wow. And to help us do just that, today we are chatting with the delightful Joanne Davis from Sweet Analytics. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things: data, new customer acquisition, growth modeling. I mean, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it all. So grab your notebooks because there's going to be some really good stuff here for you. Now, of course, if you are subscribed to the newsletter, all of the notes from today's show will be making its way to your inbox at some point if you've not got it already. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Just go to ecommercepodcast.net and fill in the little name and email thing, and we'll send you the newsletter once a week. And that's pretty much all we send you, to be fair. No spam, no junk, because I don't want it, you don't want it, nobody wants it. So that's what we do. Now, a very warm welcome to you if this is your first time with us. It's great that we're constantly getting new time customers, new time podcast listeners. It's great. I'm just thinking new customer acquisition is what's going on, but it's great to have you here. Very warm welcome to you. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast from, because it'd be great to have you with us on a regular basis. Now let's talk about Joe Davis. Now, what I'm going to do is just turn the music down in my ears a little bit. There we go. Now, Joe is an experienced retail strategist with over 20 years of expertise in product and marketing. She is the Chief Operating Officer at Sweet Analytics. They have a strong interest in merging data science and creativity to fuel brand growth. Now, Joe has worked with top fashion and homeware companies like Topshop. Gotta love Topshop, especially if you're from a certain age and era, right? Dwell and Multi-York. She is also passionate about team empowerment, coaching, and adapting to evolving business culture changes. Joe recognizes the need for motivation shifts and adaptable work environments in the post-pandemic world. Yes! We're still talking about it. Now, their vast knowledge and skills make them valuable in driving successful brands in the ever-changing retail industry. Joe, great to have you on the show. You are, in fact, our second guest from Sweet Analytics, which is great. Great to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Matt. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I often, when people say this to me, I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast. I often retort with a phrase like, well, you've got to be doing all right when you're this good looking.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. And it's funny. A lot of people have started robbing my little phrase now. And my wife heard me say it the other week. And she said, surely I have to say, you've got to be doing all right when you've got such a hot wife. And I said, well, fair play. So either way, I'm doing all right.
Great. We've already compared the weather between London and Liverpool. So you're dry, we're not. I think we've covered that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, in every area of life, I'm winning right now. which is a beautiful thing. Well, I just moved to Liverpool. Everything will be fine. It's just the way it works.
Right now,
yeah, it's a beautiful bottle. Yeah. Now, it's we met up a few weeks ago at a Sweet Analytics gig. We've known each other for a fair while now. Oliver was on the show, who's the CEO of Sweet Analytics. So, it's fair to say that if you're a regular to the show, dear listener, you'll have heard me talk about Sweet Analytics and a little deal that we've got going on with your good selves, Joe, for people that are interested to go sign up, because it's a platform that we use. And yeah, it's a great little thing going on there. So do check it out. The links and stuff will be in the show notes and stuff like that. So
yeah,
and finally, we've got you on.
Yes, at last. We've been talking about it for a while, haven't we? But diaries merging is always the issue. But yeah, great to be on and great to have a chat with you around data in the world right now.
Yeah. How did you end up at Sweet Analytics?
Well, really good question. So I actually worked with Oliver, who you just mentioned previously at Multi-York. He was the CEO there, and I was head of buying and merchandising. And unfortunately, we closed that business in about the end of 2017, and I decided to start my own brand, designing and making pet accessories. But, as we know, when you start a new company, you kind of need an extra bit of income. So I was working with Oliver freelance on Sweet right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Absolutely fell in love with the platform and the concept, and so relevant to my career, so I could really understand the solutions that we were finding to previous frustrations, and
Yeah.
how real it was. I mean, it's a bit corny to say that it's been designed for retailers by retailers, but it really, really has.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was in the middle of retailing at the time. So a year later, I closed down my brand and went full time, joined Oliver COO, and here I am 5 years later.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so that's the background. I think, am I geeky about data? Not, I would probably not, but I understand it quite well, hopefully. But for me, it's the impact it can have on your business, your brand.
Yeah.
And I also am the joint CEO of a remedies brand as well, so we're really heavily data focused, and it makes, it can be a huge difference between that feeling and that assumption based decisions to actually backing with some data. And
Mm.
even if you do want to make decisions through a feeling or the more creative side of the reason, at least you've got the data then to back up, okay, was that the right decision? Should I go and do that again, or should I
Yeah.
enhance that decision? So I'm very, very product focused, very marketing focused, really love the creative, but without the data sitting in the middle, I feel like quite often we're just shooting in the wind. So so that's what got me into Suite, and I'm really
Mm.
passionate, and I've luckily have quite a natural feel for formulas and calculations and charts. So it kind of just brought all my experience together in one place, really, which has been great.
It's quite handy. I mean, did you, when you started with Sweet, right? And obviously you've known Oliver for a while, but did you have a strong grasp of data beforehand, or have you learned how to have a strong grasp of data since joining Sweet?
Well, probably a bit of both, really.
Mm.
I mean, it's been a very steep learning curve the last 5 years, without a doubt, and that's because I moved into a data platform, which is not something I'd done previously, but also the way the environment has changed so quickly. So if I go back to the beginning of my career,
Mm.
our data was a line print that was printed out and on your desk on a Monday morning, and that's what
Right.
you used all week. And if you wanted a bit more insight, because going back to my Topshop days, you wanted a bit more insight around product sales. That's kind of data I was working with then, because wasn't no such thing as online marketing at that point. You'd call people, you'd ask them questions. How did it work having that window display? And do you think more new people come into your store? Do you think it was the same people coming back? All very,
Mm.
very much the same concept as today. But it's had a good grasp of what I wanted to know, but the information just wasn't available. Of
Yeah.
course, now we've moved into this, huge e-com environment, not to state the obvious. But at the beginning of my career, people found the website annoying. We had to actually give stock to the website as a channel.
Yeah.
The buying team, and we were like, oh god, I don't want to give them up. We want to put that into our flagship store, Oxford Street. But I still remember the day, and it was probably about 2005 actually, that the e-com shops and the
Mm.
website took more money than the Oxford Circus store at Topshop.
Right.
And all of a sudden, everyone went, oh, okay. Oh my god, I can sell so much more product through
Mm.
this channel. And obviously there's so many brands now that just trade online. COVID obviously had a big impact on that as well. Not going to talk about that too much today, but we have all this data now available to us. So all those
Yeah.
questions that I always had. So I always had a really good grasp of what I wanted to know. How many new customers are we getting? How are we getting them? How are they repeating?
Mm.
How much have I spent in marketing to acquire those customers? I now have all that information. And I firmly believe, and that's just some of the basics there, that every brand should have that information.
Yeah.
Um, you wouldn't trade your brand without a cash flow or P&L, and you shouldn't trade your brand without knowing those key metrics around the base of your business either, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree, and I think there's that old saying, isn't there? What gets measured gets managed, and
Yeah,
I guess I'm listening to you talk though.
I wrote that
Going,
today. Actually, that's so weird. I wrote that sentence today. What? What gets measured gets managed and gets done. How weird that
yeah,
you've said
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
not had that in years.
It's it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I'm sort of thinking of you back in Topshop days. On the phone. Yeah, did this display work? Yes or no? And you've got a sort of a data printout on your table. And I sort of fast forward to today, and I'm thinking about the data that we have access to. I think for a lot of people, it can feel massively overwhelming how much data there is at the moment. And so a lot of people have got access to analytics or, something, and they just look at it and go, I don't know where to start. I don't actually know what the data's telling me now because there's so much of it. I'm imagining when it was a paper printout, they just gave you the headlines. Like, these are the bits you need to know because we can't be bothered to print all that other stuff out. Whereas now, where do you even begin? So I'm kind of curious, you've gone through this sort of 5-year journey with Sweet, where your learning curve was almost vertical, being in that environment. What are some of the key things you've learned? How do we extract the important bits from the data? What have you learned over the last 5 years? Just sort of your top tips for dealing with the mountainous amount of data that's now available.
I mean, when I second what you just said to start with, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. And, let's be honest, everyone's got their day job to be doing. And sometimes the data can feel like an extra task, something that, and there's this pressure of people hearing. I'm generally talking about SMEs here. People keep telling me I need to know my data, but what does that even mean? Where do I begin understanding that? And there's lots of different data available. You've got your product sales, understanding your best-selling product, understanding if this particular product's selling to a new customer or a repeat customer, or what's the relationship between products within my customers. I mean, you can go down such a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and then we come onto the whole attribution side of things, and you've got lots and lots of analytics in terms of traffic data, trying to tell you where you're getting your traffic from, how is it converting. But the fundamentals, I think, with data, where I would start, and there's a huge amount we're not going to cover. I can go on forever today, which we're not going to do. So, but number one, as a brand, you need a goal. Okay, for me, you need to know, what am I trying to achieve? Is it 10% growth? Is it 50% growth? We're happy to stay level. What does that look like? And then you using your data to understand and build building blocks to get to that growth is the number one starting point. So we have something at Sweet called a growth model. And Oliver may even spoke about this on the podcast. I don't think I listened. How bad? That's
I won't tell him. It's okay. He's probably not listening to this one.
I bet he's, yeah, that's a really good test. Oliver, if you're listening to our podcast, you can pull me up on that. Let's see if we actually listen.
I really want to know. If he does, you need to email me. Yeah.
I will. Hi, Ollie. But Ollie's really, he's quite well known for the story of the White Company, and growing up from 6 million to 50 million in quite a short period of time. And he did that through understanding his growth model metrics. So quite simply, you've got a database of customers.
Yeah.
So understanding your database of customers and what value you're getting from that database on a regular period of time is the first thing to understand. So, I mean, I quite often will hear things like, I've got 50,000 customers. Great. You've had 50,000 people that have shopped with you over time, the last 4 or 5 years. You don't necessarily have 50,000 customers, just to be really real, because and generally 60-70% of those shopped once and didn't come back. I see it varies by sector, but as a broad benchmark. So putting that information into a growth model and understanding, okay, when I acquire a customer, how quickly do they come back? How many come back? How many come back more than once and come back often? And how many, once they've lapsed, then return? You tend to see those retention metrics really start to drop off. So once you understand, and also, you understand, is that a good retention rate for my sector? So if you're in fashion, for example, and you acquire, I don't know, make up some numbers here, 10,000 customers in a year, you would expect 20% to shop again the year after.
Right.
If you're only getting 5%, number one, what can I do to optimize that number and make it better? Yeah. Or you may just accept that's the metric for your brand for whatever reason. So once you understand that value, and that is unlikely, just your current database of customers are going to give you enough value to grow your brand to where you want to get to. So you're plugging the gap with the acquisition. So understanding, okay, I know I'm going to get this much sales from the customers I already have, so I need to plug it with this number to get to my goal. So I need to go and find X number of new customers next year or this year, whatever year you're working on. And that data can be quite fundamental it is absolutely fundamental to growth. When you're wanting to grow a brand, there's lots of activity. Brands doing lots of PR and lots of email activity, and it's all great. but what is it you're trying to achieve? And actually, is it what should you be spending to get there? Would be the next question. Yeah.
Well,
So that's the starting point on data.
And the growth model, what Oliver calls a growth model, and my experience with this, because actually, post my conversation with Oliver, we then became one of our brands became a client of Suite Analytics, and we went onto the platform. And we've been working with you guys to try and understand the copious amounts of data. And we did your growth model, which in essence takes the data that you have on our existing customers. You figure that stuff out, don't you? You go, right, well, we understand that this many customers are buying from you on a regular basis, and this is their average order value, and you pull all that wizardry together and you go, right, Matt, so this is where we think sales will be next year based on your existing customers, all based on historical data. It's not a crystal ball, obviously.
No. Yeah.
But if you want to reach your goal, then you're going to need to go and get X amount of new customers. And we were working with an agency at the time, because I remember talking to them about it, because they were like, well, we're going to go, and their target was quite high. If I'm honest with you, it was almost 50% of the previous year's turnover. They were like, well, we'll add that in the next 8 months using our strategy. And it wasn't until we came to you guys, and because they were struggling a little bit, to be fair. And I said to you guys, let's look at the growth model. Let's understand this. And it wasn't really until we understood, actually, we really have a high retention rate in our data. So if we really want to grow, well, we've kind of maxed out the customers that we have a little bit. There's a bit of play in there. Obviously, we're not perfect, but fundamentally, you're going to have to go and get new customers. And so it changed the whole marketing strategy for that business, because then we were like, well, listen, guys, you've got to go and get 25,000 new customers over the next 12 months. Or it's 24,000, actually, if I'm going to be exact. And it was such a useful number to know that if we want to reach our target, we've got to get 24,000 new customers, which was, 2,000 customers a month. So then you can decide, well, actually, quite quickly, are we on track or are we not on track? Because your retention rates are they're not guaranteed, but they're pretty stable as long as you don't become a lunatic in your business. It was the new customer acquisition ones that really intrigued me. And it was a really good, powerful tool to have access to for that conversation with our marketing agency, to understand the statement. And this is something that I learned from Oliver, actually. The statement, growing your business by 10% doesn't mean anything, but to grow your business by going and getting 24,000 new customers, it's more definitive. Do you see what I mean? And it was super, super helpful.
And then following up from that, because this is about projection work, using that data and that understanding, that 24,000 customers now goes into your pot for next year. You're going to get value from them next year because you understand your retention metrics from your data, and then you're understanding the gap again. So it's not even the 24,000 to do this year's target. It's what's the value of that 24,000 going to be in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And by understanding your metrics, and exactly as you said, we're looking at what's happening historically and now. We don't have a crystal ball. No one can guarantee that's going to happen for the next 3 years. But if you're trending in that way, it's unlikely to drop off a cliff unless we're from a pandemic. But where the pandemic went, put everyone's metrics up, so they're completely opposite. But
that's true. Yeah,
most people's anyway. So it becomes quite powerful and quite, and I love that, you see, for me in the work that I do with brands, because it just makes you very focused on the type of activity you need to be doing. And when you understand that, then you start to want to dig into your data more, and you've got more questions about that. So, okay, so, sticking to your 24,000 number, maybe the year before you acquired 15,000 customers. I don't know, I can't remember, but I know we looked at it together. But if that 15,000, let's learn about that 15,000. Okay, so we've been tracking the traffic, which led to those conversions and those new customers, what channels are working, what type of campaigns. So it gives you some insight there, but also what products were they buying? Is there a particular type of product that we should be trying to acquire with people on? And that's quite often the case in brands. There's particular intro products that people are, that are much better in the campaigns.
Yeah.
They're quite getting attention and getting people into the brand than others. There's also, and you keep going further, so I can understand the pricing around this. am I getting people in on the cheaper end of my architectural products, middle, top? It might, again, I'm not going to assume what it should be. You've got the data there to answer the questions. And then further into the pricing, how discounts work, that acquisition. And also, there's quite often an assumption, most brands do welcome codes, 10% off, 15% off the first order. Not everybody does that, but those that do they always question, but people just get their 10%, 15% and never come back. But do they? There's that assumption base. Let's have a look at it. And I still, to this day, have not seen a lower LTV with people that acquired on a discount to those that weren't.
Right.
Which completely bucks the assumption. I probably would have seen the same one once upon a time. But again, if you're showing that the AOV is quite often higher with people getting a discount because they're spending more, because they're getting more value, because they've got a discount. They're coming back because they spent more in the first orders, had a great experience, they love the products. And maybe it's even, you could understand, okay, people that were acquired using a discount code, do I need them to give them another discount code to come back, or do I not? But you're testing it, and you're using the data to learn what the impact is over time. So you keep building on your strategy through knowledge from the data. And it's so quick, did that information, I'm going to talk about Suite specifically, obviously, but in Suite, you have that information in seconds.
Yeah.
In less than a minute, I can tell you your lifetime value is better from people that required with a discount versus those that weren't. Great. Okay, that's giving me some great insight. Then you get all the creative and the fun stuff. I'm sorry for people that love data, but and go and think about, okay, how do I communicate that discount? How do I test and use it within my offline campaigns versus my online campaigns? I know actually it's a really great way to acquire customers, and they do come back.
Yeah.
Just an example, obviously, because your data might say the complete opposite, but it's just an example of making decisions through backed up data and results. And when you talk about it in this way, it doesn't start to feel so overwhelming, and it doesn't start to feel so complicated. And really, it's a lot of the questions that we've always had in retail and always asked, but just didn't have the answers, and now we do.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, you're simplifying it, aren't you? You're focusing on a few key things that you actually want to know about. I mean, I say to people all the time, the numbers that you really want to know, your number of customers, which includes your new customers, your returning customers, and that breakdown, average order value, and what you guys call average order count, how many times they buy from you in 12 months. Those three things then impact CLV. And the question always then, as marketers, as e-commerce guys, is can I either increase the number of customers, either by getting new ones or getting the other ones back? Can I increase my average order value, or can I increase my average order count? If I can focus on these three things, it simplifies things a lot for me. And it's a bit old school. It's a bit J. Abraham, if I'm honest with you, J. Abraham from years ago. The three key levers to grow a business or something, in effect, was those three things. And I find that super. I find it super helpful just to go. All the other stuff is really helpful for someone who's a data scientist or AI, and maybe they can pull out some stuff out of that. But for me, there's going to be a few things that I want to focus in on and look at. And they're going to have the big impact for me. So what were you've been there 5 years now, sort of looking back over it, you've obviously consulted with a whole bunch of companies, right? Not just us, but I'm sure you've had phone calls with many brighter people than we are. What are some of the common mistakes people are making with their data?
Well, I think number one, we're just not looking at it. Sometimes that's what I say.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
There. I just never
It's
seen
there,
it.
but I'm not looking at it. I'm happy. I'm doing. Someone told me I should know about data, so I've got a data platform. But I can't. We haven't logged in for 3 months. Yeah. I will do. So number one, not looking at it. Being afraid of it probably is the main reason most people don't look at it. Or they don't prioritize it within their day as something that they want to understand. So I think it's that. There's that culture change and that change to mindset of actually there's certain things I need to look at every day, and there's certain things I need to look at weekly, some things monthly, and some things annually, and some things are just there as and when I want to look at them if I've got those questions. So it's kind of understanding those priorities, and then in terms of mistakes in actually using the data, nothing massively springs to mind in terms of thinking about any huge mistakes other than just not using it really.
Yeah,
And I mean, and the integrity of the data is really, really important. So ensuring that the right data is being fed into a
yeah,
platform. But that's, I wouldn't say it's generally a mistake. It's normally just a challenge, and we can really help brands get that right quite quickly. But just not using it, I think, is the and not embracing it is probably the biggest. It's definitely the
mm,
biggest challenge I have with brands.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we said at the start, isn't it? There's just this monumental amount of data you can feel very overwhelmed by it, especially if you never did math at school, and you weren't, I did stats at A level statistics, and I still look at that and go, what the world? My son is just about to graduate from St Andrews with a master's in theoretical physics. And I've gone, finally, someone can understand all the data, right? Someone in our family can finally get this. Son, have a look at that and tell me what you think. No, I just, but I think it could almost feel like you need to be a rocket scientist, doesn't it? Really, with the stuff out there.
Yeah,
So,
but you don't. I think it's just breaking it down and hence
mm,
the key things that make a difference. So one of the first things I do when I have my breakfast is check the traffic to the website yesterday for the brands that I work very closely with. I just couldn't go a day without knowing. I just couldn't. I just
mm,
have to know, is the traffic still there? Is the conversion rate where it needs to be? AOV and how many new customers did I get yesterday? Is that on track
yeah,
for what I expect to happen this week based
yeah,
on my growth plans and knowing my data and what I planned for the year? It takes me 30 seconds.
yeah,
If it's not right, then I'm instantly okay, what's going on? you know,
yeah.
and then you're digging in and finding out what's happening.
Yeah, that's the beauty of ecom, isn't it? That
Mm.
you can see pretty soon if the changes you're making are having an impact. Normally within sometimes within a few minutes, sometimes a few hours, sometimes a few
Yeah,
days, but
yeah,
it's not months.
yeah.
Really
No,
isn't months. It's quite a quick thing.
yeah.
So the idea then that growth modeling, understanding what you're going to get from your existing customers, and bridging the gap. I like that
Mhm.
phrase. Mind the gap. Bridging the gap
Fill the gap.
with fill the gap uh,
That's
with
a t-shirt.
yeah.
The next retail analytics stand. Not that I've ever done one. Fill the gap. That's
Come
the
get your
t-shirt.
fill the gap t-shirts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's awesome.
Can we just talk fashion? I much prefer
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah, it's just t-shirts. How do you just t-shirts
How
with
to sell
data?
t-shirts.
In terms of so you obviously you fill the gap with new customer acquisition, and I get all that. Where do you see AI playing a role in data these days? Because I often hear people talking about AI and merging that with data, and
Mm.
I'm kind of curious to know if you guys at Suite have been playing around with that, or whether you're kind of staying away from it, or where you see the opportunities then.
No, we are embracing it, and we're going to call it SI, which is sweet intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. And I mean, it's a big subject, but in a nutshell, everything we've talked about for the last half an hour is about dealing with overwhelm and what to
Mm,
do, what numbers should I be looking at. And there's so much data available, and some of those metrics actually are well, they're calculation based. So
mm,
if you put a plan into this is into Suite, for example, and you've told the system, I want to do £5 million this year, and I want to do that by recruiting new customers at an AOV of £300. This might not add up. I'm making these numbers up. And retaining my current database at a rate of 15%,
mm-hmm.
whatever that may be, and you phase that across the year, so you know what that looks like by week. It's very easy, essentially, to be able to compare if that's happening or not. So we're looking at ways in which we can automate that communication to the customer to say, "Hi, I'm going to be positive here. You're way over your goal.
Yeah.
Do you realize you are overperforming on your goal, and the reason is because you've acquired 20% more customers than you planned to at this point in the year, or your AOV is trending up by 5%, or your customers are returning, and that orders per customer is 25% higher than what you'd planned it to be. Therefore, we think the action is this. Could be reforecast. Have you got enough stock based on your trending up? So it's the patterns are there, and we really think that will help with the overwhelm of going, what should I be looking at every
Yeah.
day?
Yeah.
So if everything's working fine and on plan, maybe you just want to know that.
Yeah.
And if it's not, which most of the time, of course, it isn't, it's generally up or down,
Yeah.
it's highlighting that really quickly and then with the actions. So I'll give you an example. If a fashion, in fashion, that's mainly who I work with. The refunds can be an absolute killer online. I mean, it's a really, really difficult area. Generally around 35-40%. If that moves even a couple of percentage points and it's a high turnover brand, that's huge. So if we're highlighting that very quickly to say your refund rate's going up, that's why you're not reaching your targets. And then we take them straight to the dashboard to say, where is that increasing? So is it new customers repeating more, existing customers repeating more? What's the average basket size for people that are refunding? Is it a particular product? To be told to get an email in the morning telling you that information,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge time saving, and you go straight to, say it's a particular product, for example. Okay, go straight to the QC team, for example. Why are they coming back? What's the feedback? What do we need to do? Do we need to do a new image on the website? Do we need to explain something better? Is the sizing off? It gives you, again, you're doing something based on knowing something,
Yeah.
and in really, really quick time. So I think from an analytics point of view, that's what we're focused. That's where we're starting to build around the intelligence side. Broader, if in my opinion, where I feel the AI is really coming into play is the personalization of experiences and messaging. So we talk about personalization an awful lot in retail and making messaging and landing pages and views of websites very specific to that person. Obviously, there's lots of data needs to be built up to be able to put those algorithms in place. But for me, I think it's a huge opportunity for retailers. Great. And it's there to save time and be efficient. But I think that for me, that's something really, really interesting is that personalization.
Yeah, no, I get that. I suppose this is one of the areas where I'm excited about AI is both in its ability, with machine learning to understand the data, and to in effect be that chief data officer, and you get the email every morning, Matt, these are the important things you need to know about your data. And it's constantly telling you like, oh, your sales are up 5%, but that's because, and it's drilled down to a campaign on, I don't know, TikTok that's just, it's gone much better than expected. And you go, well, you might want to double down on that campaign because it's performing so much better. We could kill it here.
Yeah.
And actually having something, an AI system constantly refining and looking at the data, and giving you that information, I think is very exciting.
Yeah.
Because that again prevents the data overwhelm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose the complexity is, how do I know that the AI is giving me the right data, right? And this is some of the big questions. So I can see it working in actual to help me understand the data. And like you say, I think the other big thing for ecom is actually, especially if you've got a lot of SKUs, is seeing how AI can personalize your website around visitor experience in quite an extraordinary way.
Yeah.
I've seen some platforms out there, and what's the guy's name? Alan Gormley, from
Alan?
Shopbox. Alan, he's a great guy. I love his moustache. I mean, I would just get his platform just on the basis of that if I had enough SKUs. But he's a really interesting guy with what he's doing with AI in that space, and I think, I'm intrigued by both, and I'm kind of hoping and praying that you guys at Sweet just bring out this amazing, AI analytics platform, which in effect is my chief data officer. It would be amazing. No pressure, Joe. No pressure.
No pressure. No, not at all. I'll build it tomorrow. I say I don't build anything. All credit goes to Miguel and the development team. Nothing to do with me at all. But the trust is an interesting point. Is trusting and that comes back to the integrity of the data and ensuring that you're feeding the right data through and the
Yeah.
data being understood. There's so many caveats to data that have to be unpicked sometimes to make sure that integrity is correct. So that's something we work quite closely with our clients on.
Yeah.
But trusting is a good point. I mean, you probably want to be told something, go and check it yourself a few times before you're happy you're getting the right information.
Well, especially with AI, because AI likes to make stuff up.
Yeah,
Just there it is. That's what it's known for, isn't it? But I think
yeah,
trust. You're right. Trust is an interesting one, isn't it? Because I suppose it's not only trusting that it's given me the right answer. I think I'd be okay with that.
hmm
I suppose my question would be: is it giving me the answer that I should actually have? Like, is it telling me maybe one of the keys for my business is average order value from women between 40 and 50. I don't know. There'll be some really obscure stats somewhere that would be a really interesting thing for me personally as a business to look at versus maybe not for somebody else.
hmm
And can you get AI to pull out beyond just the usual stuff? Can it
yeah.
dig in and find some really interesting stuff for you? I guess that's more my thing. Could I trust it to do that? And I think it's getting clever enough now to
It's
start doing things like that.
getting there. So that's comparing demographic data to sales data, isn't it? Which is tricky. It's because Google Analytics do that and provide demographic data. But I actually wouldn't trust that. It's coming back to the trust side of things. And it does actually tell me it doesn't know 45% of
Yeah.
what the data is. So you're only getting half of it anyway. Um, and it's, again, this comes back to the integrity of the data. It's doing it based on the IP address of the of the laptop or the device that's making that order. You don't really know who's sitting there. So it's yeah, sometimes it is questionable, and I think understanding that's quite important. But you're generally looking for the trends, I think, when it comes to the data. You're looking, I've done something, it's had an impact, it's
Yeah.
trending.
Yeah.
We data, we always know it's not 100% of science. There's an art involved as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. So, where do you think it'll all go to in the next 3 to 4 years? If you're, I guess, think about this. If I can qualify my question now, I think it through. I'm I'm launching a brand new e-commerce website, right, in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it should have been launched 3 months ago. So you just never know. But let's
We're
assume
talking
it's
about it
actually
today. Yeah.
yeah. Let's assume it's going to be launched on time. And I go and I sign up to the Suite, deal that we've got going on, and I get Suite installed on my site, and I'm looking at the data. Where should I be thinking? Sort of 3 to 5 years down the line, I'm thinking I'm a new startup business. Does data matter right from day one? And two, where's it going to be in 3 to 5 years' time that I should be thinking about now?
I think no, it does matter from day one. And I think I have worked with brands and installed Suite with them before they've even started trading, and especially around tracking data because there's certain data you can't backtrack on. So if you want to relate your sorry, man, my computer's just gone very funny.
Yeah.
What have I done?
You're coming through fine.
And I can't see it all of a sudden. Sorry, I'm gonna keep talking, but I've lost you. If you want to understand your customers in relation to marketing, so understanding their traffic through UTMs and what channels they're coming through, is it online, is it offline, etc. You can't backtrack on that data. So if you have that in place from day one, you're building up those insights quite
Right.
quickly. You may not be looking at them in a lot of detail in the first 6 months, but if you don't collect that data, you can't look
Right.
back. And it's not very expensive. So we're talking quite a small investment to start building up that data for yourself, which I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
In 3 to 5 years' time, I think AI will be a bigger part of what we're much, in fact, much bigger than what we're seeing at the moment. I think if we think AI is big at the moment, the rate in which it's growing, it's just huge, and it's going to get bigger and bigger, and it kind of makes sense in my head. And
Yeah.
obviously, when we talk about AI, we're talking about non-generative AI and generative AI. Now, the generative AI, I'm not so sure about, because I think there's lots of skepticism about that. A lot of countries in Europe are starting to put laws in place,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. But the non-generative AI is actually, it makes a lot of sense. It's taking the data, it's analysing it, and it's telling you something, and then it's doing something with that information. It's what we've been doing for many, many years in spreadsheets and tools alike, BI tools, Tableau, etc., but incredibly slowly and
Yeah.
very, very manually and very time consuming and very expensive. But it is just calculations at the end of the day. And if we can do that quickly and it tells you something and does something, that's just going to get bigger and bigger. And we know that one size doesn't fit all. So we're talking about websites, for example. We know not everybody wants to see the same product.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the same, price sensitivity. And if I was followed around the web, I'd create a very clear persona about what I look at and what I do, and it'd be very, very different to yours, for example.
Yeah.
If you and I went to Waitro's website, we'd see exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
That's just not clever. And if we
No.
can, and using AI, because you've got to do it instantly, it's a huge opportunity. It's going to get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
interesting. I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting sort of playing field over the next few years. To see where it goes. I'm intrigued. It's interesting you say about even if you're just starting out in AI, if you're starting out in ecom, track your data from day one, because even if you're not looking at it, you've still got that data.
Yeah.
And the best time to start collecting data was yesterday, and the second best day is today, right? It's one of those things where you've just got to get on and do it, and the sooner you do it, there's how much. I've asked this question a few times on EP to various different people, and I'm kind of curious to know what your answer is. How much data is actually useful? How much do you need to gather before it starts to really get useful for you, before you can start to see trends?
How much then? How do you want to quantify that in time or in actual?
Yeah, in rows of
I'd say,
data.
well, I think it's relative to the brand, but six months to a year for your first 6 months a year, then you've got the full 12 months and full seasons, and every sale period, every Black Friday, every Christmas period, to probably have a bigger impact with the data. It's interesting, but again, if you're looking at data in terms of marketing, you probably need a longer time. If you look at product and data in terms of product, you need to understand that very quickly. You're not going to wait a year to understand what product you're selling and how that relates to customers, and if someone buys this product and they come back and then buy that product.
Yeah,
That's pretty much instant. You'll be looking at that from day one. But marketing trends takes a little bit longer to understand.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good. This is why it's important to start gathering now, isn't it?
The tracker data, so your transactional data, you can get that anytime. We can ingest data for the last 10 years. But tracking data, which is the website data, and creating that strong single customer view. So you've got a customer, Matt. I want to know, how did I get you? What channels did you come from? How much did I spend to acquire you? What did you buy? How many times have you bought? Did you use a discount? Did you pay shipping? Where do you live? In terms of understanding, not one by one, but regional data, and start to understand demographic data. If you want the full picture against that activity, then yes, it's do it as soon as possible.
Yeah. How
Yeah,
easy is it going to be to keep tracking this data in light of the cookieless landscape that's in front of us?
I've put it a bit too technical for me, but from the conversations that I have, because it's first party cookie data, it's absolutely looking fine on the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
No,
third party obviously is what's phasing out.
it's complicated. Yeah. Well, this is
Yeah.
why UTM data is getting more and more important again, isn't it? So,
Yeah. So
funny how
that's what
things
we're
go in
trying
cycles.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
all comes and goes in cycles. Funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe, listen, one, I love the conversation. Two, it's that time of the show where I'm going to ask the question for Matt. So if you're listening to the show for the first time, you may not know, a recent thing that we have started to do on the e-commerce podcast is I ask the guests for a question that I have to answer on my social media channels. So I'm going to ask Joe for that question. I'm going to then take that question, play it on my social media channel, and give the answer. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, go find me on Instagram. Just search Matt Edmundson. I'll be there. And you'll hear me answer this question. Joe, over to you.
Well, I believe there's a big European football tournament coming up this year. And I was saying it in that way because I don't actually know what it's called.
Okay. Oh dear.
And I knew it said Eurovision, which I know that's wrong.
Yeah, definitely not Eurovision, but okay, close.
Euro something, isn't it?
The Euros.
Yeah. Just the Euros. Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that common? Anyway. God, I'm not a football person. You might.
We've picked that up, Joe. You're definitely better at data.
I support Ipswich Town because of my dad, and we've just gone into the Premiership. So I'm a little bit more interested.
Oh, fantastic.
I know. But anyway, who's going to win? Who's going to win that European?
Who's going to win the Euros? Okay, I'll give my answer out on Instagram, hopefully before they've ended as well.
Yeah, great.
That's a great question. Isn't Ed Sheeran a fan of Ipswich Town?
Yeah, no. Yes. Sorry, I was going to say no. It's Norwich. It's not. He's absolutely He's Suffolk, same as me. Absolutely. Ipswich.
Yeah. I saw that in the paper. He was a big Ipswich Town fan and very excited because of.
His face was everywhere, wasn't it? When they
the
won.
promotion.
It's very exciting. Very exciting for Suffolk.
Yeah, very good. Very good for Ipswich. Yeah, absolutely. Joe, listen, it's been lovely chatting to you. If people want to reach out to you, if they want to connect with you, what's the best way to do just that?
I think we're going to circulate details with this, but sweetanalytics.com is our website. I'm on LinkedIn as Joe Davis under Sweet Analytics. So yeah, we're happy to chat with anybody at any time.
Maybe not any time, but certainly, most reasonable times. 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. No.
Anytime.
We will, of course, put Joe's information, the links to LinkedIn and Sweet Analytics in the show notes. And, of course, don't forget to check out that offer we've got going on with Sweet Analytics as well. You're really going to want to have a look at that for your business if you're not using analytics. It's a good place to get started. I actually use Sweet. It's a good platform, really good platform. It'll give you that data, and I'm looking forward for the AI. Was that a good plug?
Brilliant, thank you. I couldn't have done it any better myself.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Okay, well, there you have it. What a fantastic conversation. Huge thanks again to Joe for joining me today. Also, be sure to follow the e-commerce podcast wherever you get your podcast from, because we've got some more great conversations lined up. And I don't want you to miss any of them. And in case no one has told you yet today, let me be the first. You are awesome. Yes, you are. Created awesome. It's just a burden you have to bear. Joe's got to bear it. I've got to bear it. You've got to bear it as well. Now, the e-commerce podcast is produced by Podjunction. You can find our entire archive of episodes on your favorite podcast app. The team that makes this show possible is the delightful Sadaf Bainon and amazing Tanya Hutzlek. Theme music was written by Josh Edmundson. And as I mentioned, if you would like to read the transcript or show notes, head over to the website ecommercepodcast.net, where you can also incidentally sign up to the newsletter, and get all of the good stuff directly to your inbox for free. But that's it from me. That's it from Joe. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic week wherever you are in the world. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.